My name is Sabri. I'm 22 years old. Uh, okay, that's a tough one. That's one of the toughest questions ever.
It's been 3 years since the first time I met Sabri in a cold winter morning. I was in the bus on my way to school, trying to figure out how to solve a math exercise, when he came over and helped me out with it. We didn't become much of friends since then, but few months ago, I got to know him better and I discovered his passion to music.
I first picked up a guitar when I was about 15 years old, I guess.
Sabri is not a musician only because he has chosen to, but he has his own reasons that make a lot of sense to someone trying to be somebody different in this world.
Why music? Because back then I was listening to a lot of metal music. And I needed that kind of music in my life because I used to rebel against the norms imposed by society to some extent. I started playing because I wanted to play in a band or form my own. I felt an urge to be heard, like every other teenager, and you just can't miss the sound of an plugged in electric guitar. But it goes deeper than that. I felt I was more understood by people like me, people who were listening to the same music as me. And as a teenager, you don't want to be around people who are questioning your values and beliefs. And I felt that like other metal musicians understood me.
As he learned to grow, he realized that he had been looking for himself all the time, to discover later a great person out of him, and things would be the same way even if he had lived in another planet.
But looking in retrospect, I see that those were feelings of anxiety, fear, and insecurity in disguise. But I don't like. But I think that period of time was a major turn in my life, and I wouldn't change it, even if I could.
You might think that a musician's worst day would be the day that music and sounds don't make sense anymore, but Sabri has been down this road to learn that it was only a beginning of a fresh start.
Like, as time was passing by, and I was still trying to make the things happen, little, if any, pays off were coming. I was trying as hard as I could. Like, I was trying to, like, form a band and start rehearsing and playing live or just record music, but like every time it was a complete mess. So the results were, we could say, very dim, and it was quite a frustration experience to me. And about like 3 years after I first picked up a guitar, I stopped playing. Like, I didn't like actually stop playing, but I was playing, but like the drive that was there at first like wasn't there anymore. I was just playing like to pass time, or like just doing it to kill boredom or something like that. I didn't have the sense of purpose I had before towards music anymore. But it was during this time that I started getting my life together, like the other pieces I wasn't taking into consideration so far. So for about 8 months or so, I I got I got back like with all seriousness into school, if we could say that. Uh, I became quite interested in science, and I became more disciplined and organized. I was quite active sports-wise. So I can't say it was a bad experience. I rather prefer to see it as a break, because I believe that sometimes you have to take a few steps back in order to be able to advance again.
He had some tough times playing in bands as well, when he wanted things to be done the way he liked them to.
When I was playing in my bands, things weren't always going smoothly or like as I wanted them to go. When you are doing something from your heart, you become very attached and very protective of it. And you develop a strong opinion towards it. You become identified with the thing. But I think that was the part I was always getting wrong. Because sometimes you just have to give up on big agendas and just let things be. It's not the approach one should go with all the time. But when I took that approach, I started seeing the bigger picture. I saw what music really meant to me: inspiration, joy, purpose, emotion.
But despite of all this, Sabri is still inspired to be a music writer and producer, as long as music still finds its way to his heart.
You know, a lot of things inspired me to write my own music. I felt that was a way of me putting all the emotions I couldn't express otherwise. And those feelings generally arise when I have a moment of truth, or when I feel true happiness, or a sense of self-content or gratitude. Other times I write about darker things, things that shape who I am right now. But sometimes I just write music that doesn't express much, and that's just part of the process, I guess.
But it's not just that simple. His vision goes beyond that, in fact.
But my main aim from playing music, if I had to choose one, would be to inspire others. I myself am mainly influenced and inspired by bedroom musicians, people who make music by themselves, from their homes usually, without the help of major labels, but who still manage to get their message out there, you know. So, even if I can reach only one person, and I can inspire that one person to think creatively, or to just say oh, this guy is doing it by himself, so maybe I can do something by my own, I think I would have succeeded in my aim. That would be my way of giving back, I guess.
Sabri is a true believer in what he loves and smart enough to read between the lines. And for this, his career as a student took a turn last year.
As much as I love writing and performing music, life sometimes just gets in the way. When I first got into college, I barely found the time to play. I was majoring in physics, and this year was supposed to be my second year. But I was faced with a decision. I was seeing little, if any, payoffs from school, and I felt I wasn't learning much. I love physics, trust me, but this isn't what I had in mind when I chose to major in it. University is supposed to teach you stuff, or at least put you in the right environment to do so. Make you think by your own while keeping your interest and curiosity. Not just make you learn and recite formulas by heart just to pass the exams. By the winter break, I knew that I didn't want to continue in physics, and that I would be better off doing computer science instead. But I had to wait until July to switch, and I knew that I could take this time off to be more active musically, work on all the things I wanted to work on, like rehearsing with my band, write more music, work on my skills, or just play without having a million things to think about.
I couldn't help but ask him if he had made the right decision, and this is how he puts it together.
People in my surrounding had different thoughts about my decision, but at the end of the day, it comes out to whether or not I'm following my heart, I think, and doing what I want to do versus staying in fear and never allowing myself to jump. Of course, once the decision is made, you start questioning yourself. Taking the decision was the easiest part for me, because the call to adventure was so tempting. But keeping myself focused and on track afterwards was the hard part. My biggest enemy was, in reality, me. Questions like, did I do the right thing? Will I ever achieve the success I want? What if I had good for nothing? What if I fail? All these voices can become quite paralyzing. But I just had to shut those off, because once the decision is made, the only thing one can do is to assume it fully and go with it. Looking in retrospect, I don't know if I have done the right decision, and maybe I'll never know, mainly because I don't know what the other outcome might have been. But I know that what matters now is to make this decision right. Have I accomplished all my goals? Hell no. Was I successful all the time? I don't think so. But I still accomplished a lot of the things I set out to do, and gain experience from the ones I failed at. And I think that that's the most valuable lesson that I've gained in this journey.
This journey didn't stop here. Sabri has received the reward as the winner of the American Corner Got Talent pre-selections, and was qualified to participate in the final audition at the US Embassy and studying a new year in college, doing computer science. This young man's got so much ahead of him and more to discover, and whatever life has to throw on you, just keep on going. For Algerian Youth Voices, this is Abdul Samad from Oran.